Welcome to the Swisher Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you go on Instagram and follow me at swisherent. Make sure you also go on YouTube and hit that subscribe button so you get a notification when the new videos is coming out. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button and the follow button on any of the streaming platforms, which is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SoundCloud, so you get a notification when the next podcast is coming out. Thank you so much for listening.
It's Corona time.
Welcome back.
Hey, it's
Swisher
Corona
Podcast.
time right now.
And you hear the song. It's Corona time.
It's Corona time.
I hope everybody got their hand sanitizer. Hope everybody got their mask on. Because it just got real. It seems to me that a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, and a lot of your local Waffle House workers has got the coronavirus. So all I need you to go to the store. I need you to get that hand sanitizer. I need you to get your mask. I need you to stay at home. I guess the best thing for you to do, if you're feeling sick, if you're feeling nauseous, if you're feeling out of breath, go get checked. Because we don't need you spreading this no more. We already got enough people with the coronavirus, and it's already spread all the way from China. It's got over here, and it's already got a lot of people. So make sure you do what you got to do to take care of yourself so you won't affect anybody else. But once again, this is Swisher Podcast. Welcome back. That was my PSA announcement from the Swisher Podcast. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, do what you got to do, take the right precautions in order to deal with this coronavirus. You know, this could be something that stays around for a few weeks, or it could be something that stays around for a few months or even years. You know, it seems a lot more serious now that some people that we tend to look up to, aka celebrities, athletes, have the coronavirus, have tested positive for it. It kind of makes it a little bit more, I guess, feel like you can get it also. You like, if these people get it, then, you know, we definitely can get that coronavirus. So make sure you do what you got to do to take care of yourself. Once again, welcome back to the Swisher Podcast. I believe this is episode 140 or 130, something. I lost track. Took a few weeks off. Wasn't too much going on, but it's just way too much content and news going on this week for me to just ignore it and not get back on the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. I saw a lot of you listen to my last podcast. And, you know, when I'm going this daily, I still get a good amount of plays, but it seems like when I let one sit for a while, I get a good amount of plays on that one when I'm not doing it back-to-back daily. But shout out to everybody that's listening. Shout out to all the new listeners. If you are just tuning in, I appreciate you for giving this podcast a chance. To all the old listeners, thank you for listening. You know, if you've been listening since day one or the middle, it doesn't matter. Appreciate you for listening, and follow me on the Instagram at swisherent. So you'll definitely be able to keep up with the podcast. And you know when it's not coming out. You know when I'm taking a break. But I had to get on here and talk about this coronavirus, man. There's so much going on. It's spreading so fast. They actually just put a travel ban. Trump put a travel ban from England, I believe, from the UK and whatnot. So, you know, which is crazy because a lot of students, a lot of people are traveling around the world right now, and especially a lot of youth because it's spring break. So a lot of schools are out, and a lot of people are traveling, and, you know, a lot of people are probably catching this virus. And, you know, schools, a lot of colleges, and a lot of schools, just not colleges, like elementary, high school, whatnot, are canceling school. A lot of events are getting canceled. A lot of colleges are extending their spring break, or they are having classes online so people can stay home and take classes, which isn't a bad idea. But it's things like this that makes you rethink when you were watching the Discovery Channel and you saw the episode of Doomsday Preppers, and you said that guy who's packing all this food, that guy who's got all these guns, this guy who has a bunker underground and has a secret facility in his house and just stocking up on food and stuff. This is when you realize those people weren't so crazy. This is when you realize those people who were doing all these things and preparing for a day like this, it is now happening. The stores are running out of paper towels. The stores are running out of food. The stores are running out of a lot of different things that people want. The factories are getting shut down overseas. So a lot of the things that you use and buy every day, those things come from overseas, places like China. People got to understand when things stop over there, eventually it's going to hit over here, So, a lot of those doomsday preppers guys, if you go back and watch that show, you'd be like, yo, these people are nuts. Nothing like that's going to happen, But it's happening right now. Just want you to think about that. And that's insane. And a lot of people don't really. A lot of people are making fun and making jokes out of this whole situation, and they don't realize the type of danger you could be in, especially if you're older or you're someone that already has an illness. You're especially in danger. Who wants to just stay inside and not be able to go out without thinking they're going to catch some type of virus that could be anywhere, anyone can have. They said you can go a week without having symptoms of the coronavirus. You can go a whole week. You know how many people who go to work every day, you know how many people you can infect within a week of having this virus? It's insane. And I believe that it really is no way to stop it. There's no way to really get a control on it. Some people are not going to go get tested to see if they have the coronavirus. They get sick. Oh, it's just the flu. They're not really looking for the corona. No one wants to get it, but not everyone dies from it. But a lot of people have died, and something to think about. Once again, this is Swisher Podcast. What I'm saying? Back once again, started out on such a sad note, but it's Corona time, something we got to look out for, man. Definitely, this past weekend, Duke had won the Carolina Duke game, and I went out. It was a bunch of people in this one spot, and it was lit. But wasn't nobody thinking about no Corona. It didn't hit as hard then as it's hitting right now. You know what I'm saying? So, and I know I ain't got it. I hope not. I hope not. I'm feeling good, but it was a bunch of people shoulder to shoulders inside that bar, man. And I just know that how hot it was, and it just wasn't. No one was thinking about it then because it wasn't as serious as it is right now. But hopefully, no one in there had that Rona, and they definitely got to be careful now that a lot of people are coming back from spring break. And I just find it interesting that we don't take things seriously. Serious. Fuck. We don't take things serious until a celebrity or someone at that magnitude has it. It was all a joke a few days ago, but now it seems to be something to worry about. Thinking back on different viruses and things that have happened in the past, like Ebola, swine flu, I don't remember anything being this serious. Because I don't believe those viruses were able to spread as easy as the coronavirus. And my question is, how did this virus even start in the first place? Like, what are these people doing, that are even getting these type of viruses spread across the world? You can't eat everything. You can't eat some animals. It's just, you can, but you shouldn't, because things like this happen. And I'm looking for a video. And, okay, I want to play this video from CBSN News. So I'm going to give it credit to them. This video right here is from CBSN News, and it's going to give you a little backstory of where coronavirus may have come from, where coronavirus may have started. And this is CBSN News.
The coronavirus has spread to countries across the world, but officials believe that it all started in Wuhan, China. It's believed that the virus may have originated from a market in the city where people can buy an assortment of wild game meat. And an article in the New York Times.
So you see right there, wild game meat. Then this is where I go back and say, you can't just be out here eating everything. And I know in different places you got different cultures, people eat different types of food. But come on, man. You do that shit and stuff like this happens. You gotta tighten up, man. Tighten up.
Times puts the spotlight on that market and others like it in China. Stephen Lee Myers wrote that article, and he is the Beijing bureau chief for the New York Times, and he joins me now via Skype. So thank you so much for joining us. I think everyone who's been watching this story.
Wet markets, but here they're where people go and buy their produce. Their fruits, their vegetables, their meat, their eggs, almost everything. They're quite popular. Some of them are more exotic. They sell live animals, live wildlife, and particularly game that you wouldn't normally see in a supermarket anywhere else.
And
okay, stopping right there. There was a store. You know what I'm saying? It's a store that I went into one time. It was called the World Market. Something like that. It was this type of store that they sold food from all over the world. So they didn't just have your typical stuff that we may eat and buy here. But I swear to you not, I went in there, they had elephant food. And you can call me crazy, but they had elephant food. They had all different types of fish. They had just a bunch of different type of food from all over the world. It smelled terrible in there. It's the worst smelling supermarket I've ever been to. I've seen some of they had like gooses just hanging up by their necks and stuff like that. So I believe this how this market over here, I've never been to China or whatnot, but this market sell this type of different game meat and foods and stuff, because they had something like that here. Because I went to Trinidad and I was looking for some shark meat. So I was like, let me go in the World Market. They might got some shark meat. But apparently it's illegal to sell shark ear or whatnot. But I was trying to find some shark meat in the World Market. But as soon as I walked in that bitch, that shit stink. It smelled like the jungle. It smelled like fucking elephant feces and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that was just my little backstory.
And so is that sort of stuff, is it regulated at all?
The Chinese government allows the sale of live wildlife in these markets. They regulate 54 species, some of them quite exotic, some of them familiar to us, like partridges or wild turkeys. Others are not things that you would be used to seeing in the United States, for example, civets, badgers, hedgehogs, these kinds of things, as well as live snakes, live turtles.
So what I'm getting is, everything that they sell over here in this market in China is alive. That's something different. You don't really see that in America. You might see some crab in a tank, some fish. You know what I'm saying? Even the fish be dead. You might see some live crab. So everything they sell in these markets is alive in cages. And you just get the live chicken by its neck and they got badgers. You hear that? They got badgers. They got snakes. This type of shit they eat. It's just crazy to me.
All manner of wildlife you can find in some of these markets. They are regulated. There was an inspection in the particular market in Wuhan just a few months ago, and they found no irregularities there.
All right, so let's talk about that market. Now, I know that authorities are still really trying to zero in on the sort of the starting point for this virus, but they have been looking at this particular market in Wuhan. Why do they think that the coronavirus might be linked to this market?
What happened is in December, there were a series of cases in Wuhan of a pneumonia-like illness. And they were trying to figure out what it was. People were showing up in the hospital quite severely sick. They had fevers that didn't respond to treatment. And what they found in the late days of December was that a lot of these people were from that particular market in Wuhan. where there were these live animals being sold. And that was the first signal that there was an epidemic emanating from one spot. Once they figured that out and they isolated the virus, they ended up tracking it to a virus that's been exposed before, that's exposed humans before, from bats. And the belief is, like the SARS epidemic, 17 years ago, that the virus that was in bats jumped to a mammal, and then from mammals to humans, and all of this happened in this one particular market.
Okay, so then how have authorities sort of responded to this? We've seen video where it looked like the market was shut down and kind of cordoned off.
Well, at first, I think the authorities in Wuhan weren't quite sure what they were facing, but once they realized that there were...
Damn. So they said the bats and the badgers and all types of stuff just sprayed. Everything just biting and eating everything. It's just terrible. But it is Swisher Podcast. Once again, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at SwisherENT. Keep up with the podcast. Is definitely more podcasts coming. Definitely more podcasts on the way. Definitely had to get back to it. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on SoundCloud. Make sure you also hit that like button on your whatever app you're listening on. Favorite this podcast. And appreciate you for listening. Once again, this is Swisher Podcast. Everybody stay safe, wash your hands, do what you got to do, and stay safe out here and stay healthy. Once again, I'm out.